Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website.
Well, at least I have a plan to fight ISIS.
I have put forth a plan to defeat ISIS. It does involve going after them online, but we also have to intensify our air strikes against ISIS.
President Obama and Secretary Clinton created a vacuum the way they got out of Iraq. The way they got out was a disaster, and ISIS was formed. I think we have to get NATO to go into the Middle East with us, in addition to surrounding nations, and we have to knock the hell out of ISIS.
All right, that was Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton sparring over who has the better plan to defeat ISIS. Trump even blaming Hillary Clinton and President Obama for the rise of ISIS. In fact, I think he said basically, you know, they've been rising sort of your whole political career. So who is the best candidate right now to keep us safe? For more, I'm joined by Fox News national security analyst KT McFarland. All right, KT, what do you think the starkest difference is in the plans that each of them have to defend our country?
Well, first of all, I want to say that neither of them articulated their plans last night.
Yeah.
Okay, but Trump in the past has articulated a plan to defeat ISIS, which he says has a military component, an economic component, an ideological component, as well as a cyber component. So I think he has a comprehensive plan, and he says this is going to be like World War II, and it's going to be like the Cold War.
Yeah, he put that out 4 weeks ago.
And he said
right.
that sometimes you're going to have to partner with countries you don't like very much, like we did in World War II. Hillary Clinton has basically said, look, we're doing all that stuff. But my critique of her is that, okay, if this is Barack Obama's third term that you're running for, you haven't been very successful.
Well, and that was his critique as well. In other words, do you really want more of the same? Now, granted, she was working for Barack Obama as Secretary of State. Can you basically tar and feather her with all of his failed policies?
Well, they were her policies. And whether it was the reset with Russia, which didn't work out, whether it was the decision, her decision, and she enthusiastically supported the decision to go into Iraq. She enthusiastically supported the surge. She enthusiastically supported getting out of Iraq. And so I look at that and say, well, you're on the wrong side of both of those issues. And Trump actually did say that. He said, you know, we shouldn't have gone in and we shouldn't have gotten out when we did. So I think she's got a foreign policy record that she has to defend. And I don't think either of them had that conversation last night.
He also has the support, I mean, you mentioned this last night, of a number of generals and military personnel. How significant is that to you as a former Pentagon?
You know, I mean, she has her generals. Everybody has their generals. Everybody has their grieving mothers. Everybody has their, you know, their token whatever. But I think that, to me, the thing that Donald Trump had to do last night, and he did, it was the minimum thing he had to do, was to show that he could be a credible commander-in-chief. You know, in 1980, when Reagan ran, people said, well, he could never be commander-in-chief. He's a Hollywood movie star. He didn't know anything about foreign policy. And yet he went into the debates in 1980, and he looked like a credible president.
Well, you know, that's everybody. I kept saying, look, the bar's low. Because
it is a low bar.
In some ways, the American public is looking for any reason they can find not to vote for Hillary Clinton because, well, frankly, a lot of people just don't like her or they don't trust her. And so his job last night, and it will continue to be, is to basically present himself as a safe alternative in that he is presidential, etc. I think he started off well, but you know, he got distracted, he meandered. I don't think it changed his base support at all, and I don't know if it necessarily convinced independents one way or the other, but I think a lot of people, KT, were looking at him to kind of just wrap it up last night. They said, you know, he's going to clean her clock and it's going to be over, and, you know, it's Donald Trump for president. And so there's some disappointment today. What does he need to do to really get out in front of these security issues, which are so relevant to people right now?
Well, stick to his points. I think last night, you know, nobody wrapped it up. They're all going to live to fight another day, and that'll be the next debate, and it'll be the final foreign policy debate. What does Trump need to do? Well, Hillary already knows what to do. She's been steeped in these issues for decades. So she has, I think, the more difficult task, which is to defend a failed foreign policy record. She's had her chance, and it didn't work very well. I mean, for 15 years, ISIS has had us on the run, or radical Islam has had us on the run. What does Donald Trump need to do? I think he needs to talk about the kinds of things he's talked about in the past. We're going to have an economic revival and think, bing, 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 this is how we're going to do it. We're going to defeat ISIS, bing, 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 economic, military, ideological, cyber. We're going to go after the cyber realm. We're going to have to, if the Russians are trying to muck around with our elections, we go tell them you can't do this, and here's the penalty if you do. We'll start mucking around with yours.
All right. KT, some good advice. Hope he's listening.